After some time of scrolling through comments in my last video, it hit me. There was an obvious challenge. Smack dab in the middle of my comments was the perfect project to throw me out of my comfort zone. Bro, you gotta work for ads. I replied, dude, I would love to work on ads if I ever had the opportunity. That thought ran in my head as I showered, as I brushed my teeth, and as I had my morning coffee. There was no doubt I wanted to make an ad, but the question was, who would hire me to make an ad? Currently, no one. Let's be realistic. I've never made an ad in my whole life, and no one was going to drop this opportunity in my lap. But that got me thinking, why should I wait for the opportunity to come to me? Why don't I go and grab the opportunity myself? So I arrived at one conclusion. I'm going to make my very first ad. There was a glaring question. What am I going to make an ad of? It had to be something I loved, felt passionate about, and had in the house. Sitting in my living room looking around, there was an undeniably apparent choice. But before I tell you the object of my ad, let's go back a little. It's winter in New York City, averaging 26 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 3.333333 Celsius. The perfect environment to concoct the winter blues. With fewer people outside, little socialization, and less hours of sunlight, the nagging feeling sets in. Boredom and loneliness. Pacing the apartment, walking from room to room, opening the fridge, mindlessly scrolling on the internet, and reopening the fridge 10 minutes later, I knew I needed reinforcements to combat the blues. And I had the perfect tool. Hey, do you want to come over to play Catan? I knew there was no way they could say no. Sure as hell the response came. Yes, be over in 30. Catan nights became the ultimate remedy for not only me, but all of my friends too. As the game nights grew, so did the collection. It started with the base game, then came the expansions. Seafarers, 5-6 players, Cities and Knights Legend of the Conquerors, and Treasures, Dragons, and Adventurers. This was the object of my ad. Part A of the plan was research. First, I had to educate myself on the specs of an ad. I turned to Google. How long is an ad? The standard for a TV ad is 30 seconds. So 30 seconds it is. Next, I looked up Catan's original ad. Let's see what we're working with. And then, the biggest portion of the research was on ads. Any ads. Food ads, sports ads, company ads, any ads I could find on YouTube. After about what felt like 500 ads, I felt educated enough to attempt to make an ad myself.
Oh, and side note, before I forget, I want to decide what dictates success or failure on this project. Here are the guidelines. 1. Completion of the project. And 2. Ads mean sales, the ability to convince other people to buy Catan. Since this isn't a real ad, for our experiment purposes, I'd like to ask you guys if this ad convinced you that Catan was a fun, exciting game, or maybe even convinced you to buy the game. Leave a comment below and let me know. Moving on to part B of the plan.
Moving on to part B of the plan, create the storyline of the ad. This was the biggest headache of all. An ad was very different than a story for a film or a video. It could be way out there like the recent Reese's Lava Super Bowl ad, or it could be very straightforward like how to play the game. So what did I want my ad to show? After thinking and thinking and thinking, I finally came to the decision. My main objective is to showcase the fun Catan brought, breaking the stereotype of nerdy board games and express the emotions involved in the game. Catan was more than just a simple, boring board game. Maybe it's my background playing all kinds of sports as a kid, but it reminded me of the emotions I felt when I was in a basketball game or a football game. That gave me the ultimate idea. to mix the two seemingly opposite genres and bring a new level of excitement to board games. In my hours of research, there's one sports company that brought the level of excitement I wanted for my ad: Nike. Hoping to channel the same energy and motivation, I got down to write my script and draw my storyboard based on my favorite Nike ads. Part C, the last part of the plan, was to create the ad. The most fun but challenging part. Outside of this being my very first attempt to make an ad, there were a number of other barriers. 1. I needed 4 actors to act as the players of the game, and I didn't know any actors. So I called in some favors from friends, asking them to become first-time actors. Barrier 1, check. 2, the set. To give a little background, I live in New York City, known for its ridiculous rent prices and small spaces.
So expectedly, I live in a pretty small apartment.
The only room I could even attempt to film this ad was my living room.
Being from New York City, I live in a pretty small apartment. To be exact, let's measure my living room.
It was going to take some finagling to fit a table big enough to fit the game, 4 players, myself, to film, and all the equipment needed. But there's no other way around it. I had to work with what I had, so barrier 2, make do, check. Barrier 3 was not a tangible physical problem. I have never shot an ad in my whole life. It was daunting, which made the whole project extremely stressful. Constantly questioning if I could do this or was I jumping way ahead. I couldn't let the doubts get to me. This was the whole point of this YouTube channel, to push myself and do things I've never done and learn from them. Even if I sucked, I would have gained valuable experience. That's what I kept telling myself as I pushed on in this project. So on one Saturday afternoon, I dived into the filming of the ad. Setting up the set, setting up the lights, directing first-time actors, and camera operating. It was hectic, but this was the best part. The feeling of being on set was my favorite, and so after 8 hours of filming, I finally finished the ad. This was the result. What does it mean to be a winner? It's not a moment, it's a statement. It's something meticulously planned, something built, something earned. Anger, joy, shock, frustration. You feel it all. You control and adapt at every move, every turn. And when the final point hits, when you've outsmarted, outlasted, and outplayed, that victory, it's priceless.
That was my very first ad. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments what you think, and I'd love to hear any feedback. And a little reflection on the process of creating this ad. I definitely was very stressed out because most of the time I didn't know what I was doing. But I'd say I learned a lot in this process. I learned what I should be doing more in the next one, hopefully. And I'd love to create more, and hopefully, maybe even a real ad if someone ever wants me to create one for them. Thank you again for watching this video and for watching my last video. I really appreciate all the feedback. Again, I'll catch you in the next one.